Hello, people of YouTube.
Hi.
I am American McGee.
I'm Martin.
And we are coming to you live from the underground lair deep in the heart of China.
Where it's chilly.
It is.
Still.
It is. In Chinese, we would say Ling Du.
Ling Du what?
That means 0 degrees. It was
Okay.
0 degrees outside this morning. Of course, that is in Celsius. We do use the metric system here in China.
So it's 16 where we are now. That's actually a little better than the last stream.
But we
It's
are
like
cold.
a degree better.
This is true. So if you want to help us warm up a bit, smash like.
Jib it up.
Jib it up. All right. So today we have a lot to talk about because we did upload some very controversial content during the week since we last saw you.
Controversial in a good way. It's not like we were dissing any minorities.
No, well, you mean not dissing men, as in some shaving commercial did.
No.
Is that what you're talking about?
Any.
You clearly have betrayed all mankind because you've got a smooth
I shaved.
baby skin like, but
Yeah.
this is my rebellion against the matriarchy.
I have been lazy with shaving recently. But it needed doing.
There you go. So today we do have prizes. This is going to be our ultimate prize. This is the White Rabbit Plush, and Martin over there has got some art prints.
That's the bag the rabbit comes in.
You're not supposed to
First.
grab the rabbit bag.
Why not?
You're supposed to show off the art print.
I'll do
We
that.
do have 3 of these mother art prints from Madness Returns laying around the studio,
So we're going to do these. 3 of these.
and 1 of those.
And 1 of that.
There you go. So you guys make sure to remind us when contest time comes up. We like to forget, especially with today's crazy topics. So let's jump right into it. So first off, Out of the Woods. We did share a link to the mysterious mailing list this week for the PDF version of the illustrated book. So if you were lucky enough to have signed up for the mysterious mailing list a while back, you would now have in your possession the link to said PDF. And if you don't, then you could probably find somebody who has it and they'll share it with you and we won't complain.
Very probably.
Very probably.
We
but,
needed reminding about this, didn't we?
we did.
Kind of
did.
forgot about it somewhat.
And we'd promised this as the digital version of this to everyone who signed up for Out of the Woods when we were doing the mailing list. This is back when we were doing the promotion for the Kickstarter. And this is the illustrated book that got made. That's Bluebeard. Wait, let's put that beard on you. What do you think Gillette would think about him?
Probably something terrible.
He literally is a misogynist and a woman killer. So I do think that ad would make sense for this guy, for Bluebeard. But he may be one of the few. Now, in Bluebeard, we did do a bit of victim blaming. I remember we got in some trouble for this because one of the lessons at the end of each tale,
I remember that.
there are lessons. And one of the lessons was that if you find a room full of women you suspect were murdered by your husband, don't wait for him to come home and confirm the fact that he is, at best, criminally insane. Call the cops and run away. So, this is the hard copy version of the book. It contains a collection of classic fairy tales and some really beautiful illustrations. But the PDF version was made available this week to people via the mysterious mailing list.
Yeah, we got some, most people commenting on Kickstarter, sending messages and comments. Everyone's loving the art and the book and that.
There you go.
Very, very positive about that project.
Except for that one guy.
Them 2 guys.
They're just not happy about anything. That's amazing, actually. You have 3,000 something backers.
Almost 4,000.
And they're all exceptionally happy about everything, the way it turned out, the quality of the rewards that were delivered, and the timeliness with which we resolve issues if damaged goods were delivered or anything like that.
Yeah.
And yet those 2 guys.
Ooh, those 2 guys.
Not like those 2 guys. We have Isaac Chapman here giving us a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Isaac. American, make Cheeto dab Alice an emote on the Discord server. For those of you who don't know,
I can see Cheeto Dab Alice right there
there
in the
is
thumbnail.
This is Omri. Omri's funny. Look, someone says your voices are cutting out a bit.
Oh no!
I wonder why.
Oh no! It's gone red.
Could that be because Martin messed with the audio?
No, it's because the connection went red.
So, so Omri's been having some fun. We'll jump to this really quick, just so everybody understands what this is about. Omri has been doing some new outfit designs, and this is an outfit design for the onesie. We'll get to that later.
We will.
But he's having a lot of fun putting little Alice characters. Now, some of them have been doing like selfies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this one's dabbing.
Cheeto Dab Alice.
And someone said, why the orange rabbit? And I think many of you may remember that a while back we had a piece of it was a photo came from one of the factories that was working on the plush prototype, and it was bright orange.
You think you can find it in that folder?
I don't know.
That's pushing it.
I think not. But it was really funny because it was our rabbit, but it was bright orange, and I don't see it here.
It was crazy.
It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, the legacy of the bright orange rabbit lives on.
It does.
It does. I did put it up on my Facebook the other day.
Okay.
We don't know why. We don't know why the factory picked this sort of nuclear orange color, but the factory did pick nuclear orange and made a rabbit like that. And Omri...
It was interesting.
Omri has continued the legacy of the orange rabbit. I'm pretty sure I put it up here because someone asked. They said, why the orange rabbit? I don't get it. Alice is not a Cheeto, I think is what they said. Oh, here it is. I found it. Web review. There you go. So on my Facebook page, I did post up this picture of the orange rabbit. So there you can see.
Plush prototype.
Yeah.
That we never got.
We never did get this. I think they were so embarrassed that they decided, nah, we're not going to send that to them. Because clearly, if they had, it would be still living on in infamy. We would be playing with it all the time.
IP Freely. Super chats. Thank you very much. Is there any chance we can get rid of the scrolling names? Those ones. I don't think that any of the Patreon supporters care if they see their names to the left. Well, you're wrong.
That's an odd bit of mind reading there, IP Freely.
Yeah, we not frequently, but have definitely in the past had people complain that they can't see themselves. But, there's a lot of names. Yeah, they are there.
IP, thank you for the super chat. That's nice. We'll go buy some pizza with that later today. But yeah, I don't think we really get that comment because you're mind reading for all the other patrons. And I'm just kind of curious, are you yourself a patron or a Patreon supporter? Is your name over there?
They can just see their names to the right in the chat window. But these are two separate bunches of names.
Yeah,
so we need to keep the scrolling marquee of names because we said we'd do it in our Patreon. At certain levels, you get your name in the video.
That's correct. It's part of the tiers. It's part of one of the perks of being a patron. So I find that request is a bit odd, but that's okay. So back to Out of the Woods. We are still doing some small updates, and one of the things that we need to do is on my website, we're going to have a section for FAQ and rules.
Yep.
Because somebody forgot to include what is perhaps the most important rule of them all.
Yeah, American.
In the instruction sheet. Why are you blaming me?
They don't know any better.
So this is the instruction sheet that came with the game. And
very nice.
It's missing one critical point, which is that if you don't have a card to play, you can pull a card from the card stack.
Or you can just pull a card if you want.
Anytime. But anyway, we neglected to include.
I said it earlier. I was too busy thinking about all the twists and the minute details and the little rules.
Yeah.
That I kind of forgot to put like an obvious one in.
Well, it is in essence the most basic rule of them all. And I feel bad that we didn't include it, Martin. But we're gonna do an update to the website, and then you'll be able to Google search that, and you'll be able to find that rule. And of course, no one will Google search.
They'll just message us directly.
They'll go straight to the comments on Kickstarter, and just above where it's just been answered, they will ask that same question again.
Yeah,
this is just the way it seems to work.
When we get the FAQ page up and running, then don't need to just retype the same answer. Can just copy and paste a link.
There you go.
Go there, read that.
There you go. So also quickly, Jennifer has added some Out of the Woods t-shirts to the mysterious shop. So if you are a fan of Out of the Woods and you want to show the world just how much you love that game, then you can go and buy a t-shirt made by our lovely friend Jennifer. There you go.
The game itself is also getting a lot of love.
What do you mean?
People saying, I played it last night with my family or friends or whatever, and we had a blast.
Yeah.
Really quick, easy to get into. It's great.
Yeah,
I've
seen that.
Nice to see.
People are really having fun, and maybe we're surprised because it was our first tabletop card game, and we did basically rip off Uno. That's why we jokingly call it Emo Uno.
I don't think either of us thought that it would like set the world on fire and be like the new best thing since sliced bread.
No.
But we thought it was fun, and it's nice to have people confirm that.
Well, we did have one conversation about not making it overly complicated, that we wanted a game you could just sit down and play without having to think about it too much, like Uno. But it turns out that we ended up with an instruction sheet that is this big and is double-sided. So it's not completely simple.
There's a lot to it.
There's a lot going on there.
It's a good-looking instruction sheet,
it is a
actually.
beautiful instruction sheet.
Well done, Alex.
There you go. All right. So that is what's been going on with Out of the Woods.
Anything else with Out of the Woods?
Nope.
I mean, it's still available to buy. The Kickstarter has ended many a moon ago.
This is true.
But it is for sale over on Mysterious.
It is.
Along with the coloring book and the illustrated book.
Yes.
Which are also excellent.
So next up, just a quick update on Pirate Jam. We are still accepting your application to join. These are some photos from when I did the location scouting trip a few weeks back. And so these are some of the locations that we will visit during this year's Pirate Jam. This place was insane how beautiful it was there.
Looks it.
I believe this might be one of the most beautiful places I've seen up in that bay, if not out sailing around in Thailand. And so this will be one of our stops. Obviously, we were doing some fishing there. This is also one of our stops. This beach will be one of the last stops aboard the boats. This is the place where we might do some of the jamming. There is a computer on a boat. This is what Pirate Jam is all about.
And a Russian.
This is one of the boats that might be in the event. This is a crazy cave hong thing island that is filled with fruit bats, giant 6-foot wide winged fruit bats.
Scary.
Very. So yeah, that's Pirate Jam is shaping up to be a lot of fun this year.
We have some super chats.
We do.
Colorful Core, super chats. Senpai, notice me.
Hello, Colorful Core. You are noticed.
You have been noticed.
Arigato gozaimasu. Konnichiwa.
Mr. Roboto.
Mr. Senpai Bato. You've been noticed.
Next.
Thank you.
Rusty Cork. Thank you for the super chat. When was the last time American read his Wikipedia profile? It's quite colorful, to say the least.
Yeah. So this actually came up interestingly enough, this came up yesterday. I was doing an interview with a guy who is collecting notes and conversations from game industry people, and he's recording the conversation, and he wants to know if it's okay for him to use what we're talking about. And I explained to him that my Wikipedia page contains a fair amount of information that was given to a journalist who wrote an article for the magazine Wired. And that information was stuff that I told him was off the record, and he printed it anyway.
Grr.
Yeah. So I've actually tried to write to Wikipedia, specifically this section, which is about my father, who, in fact, did try to kill me during this incident. Might as well talk about it now because it's up there on Wikipedia and it's not going away. But I've written to Wikipedia in the past and said, hi, this section was taken from an interview where I did not give permission, and I'd like this to not be there. And they won't listen. They say, nope, it's in print in this Wired magazine article. And there you go, archive.wired.com. So that article from 2000 contains quotes that I did not give permission to have put into the public, including those. Yeah, so interesting stuff.
Be careful what you tell reporters and interviewers.
This is true. Anyway, helpless heroes, helpless heroes, thank you for the $5, and thank you for bringing up my painful and horrible past.
No, that's a different one. It was Rusty Cork.
Oh, sorry. Rusty Cock.
Get it right.
Thanks, Rusty Cock. You're funny. All right. Helpless Hero sends $5 and says,
in the Out of the Woods game, what do you do when you don't have a card to play? Just kidding.
You're funny. You're a funny one, Helpless Heroes. Alrighty, there we go. Sean Carey, are any of the Pirate Jam contestants prospective programmers for Madness Returns? I dare you to say that 5 times fast. Thank you for the super chat, Sean Carey. Maybe? Well, I mean,
Madness Returns has already been made.
What's that?
Madness Returns has already been made.
Oh, right. It's a trick question. I think he meant Asylum, though. So for Asylum, the answer to your question is maybe, because Alexander, for example, who's featured in that photo there.
Looking out for snakes.
Snakes. Sea
snake.
Sea snakes, they're everywhere. He's a part of our team, and he may very well join us for Pirate Jam.
Ooh.
And he's a programmer. So there you go.
There you go, Sean Carey.
There you go. Alrighty. Wow, there's a lot of super chats coming in.
Gosh,
it's going to be one of those days.
It's one of those. Colorful Core, back again. Do you have a date for the next CD?
What is a CD? Crowd design. It may be for a crowd design. So we did a crowd design this week on our Tuesday. That is where we use Discord to gather together all of the insane children, and we then go through information on the wiki, which is the notes and suggestions that people have made for Alice Asylum. And this is ultimately where we are collecting together all the information, design, narrative, artwork that essentially describes the game, which will be Alice Asylum. So anyway, we go and we do a community crowd design session. We try to do those weekly. And we try to do those on Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. In Hong Kong time, which would be 6 p.m. on Mondays if you were, say, in California. And we go through these suggestions and we knock them on the head one by one and we talk about them. And those have been really fun. So Colorful Core, the next scheduled crowd design session should be next week, Monday, 6 p.m. if you are in California. There you go. Randall Chevalier sends $5 and says, "Hey, I loved AMA and AMR, and you may already have addressed this, but will we actually get boss battles this time around and not just teases?" Someone asked me this on Instagram a little while ago, and my answer was essentially every enemy in the game is a boss if you suck bad enough. So maybe just don't be so good. But I understand the question. Yeah, we are planning to have actual real bosses in Asylum. Okay. So I think that's been asked and recorded somewhere in the wiki.
It has.
Yeah.
I think your microwave's here.
Woo! Microwave! So Truth Decay sends along Canadian $2 and says, "Did you ever try to sue that a-hole, quote-unquote, journalist?" The answer to that is no, because I had no record of my saying this is off the record. In order to do that, sue someone in that instance for printing something that you said was off the record, you'd have to have your own record of the entire conversation. And the way that what made this even shittier was that journalist did a formal interview face to face like this with a recorder, and during that interview I mentioned several times that events from my past had definitely colored or influenced my creative direction when it comes to games and storytelling. And he kept pressing during the interview, give me details. And I said, I don't really want that stuff being in print. Then after the interview was over and the recorder was turned off, he said, "Let's go grab a drink." So we did. We went down to the pub and we had a few pints, and unbeknownst to me, he was still recording. And
so there is a record of you saying this is off the record.
Well, on his recorder.
Right.
Yeah. So there you go. It's not easy to sue people, though, just so you know. And just so you know, somebody says here, why not go into Wikipedia and edit the article? Do you know why? Because Wikipedia is run by a bunch of biased a-holes. And if you go and try to edit your own article when it says something disparaging about you that you'd rather it didn't say, but they don't like you, guess what?
What?
They'll just change it right back.
I
do believe that what I just said. I'm just going to leave it alone.
I believe the things I just told you.
I'm not going to spin up conspiracy theories, but I don't believe I have friends working at Wikipedia.
Aww.
And I think that, there have been records of people doing sort of mass editing of Wikipedia articles to insert a certain type of bias. And I believe that there is a bias in my article which is against me, that when I've requested, hey, could we just not have that particular thing mentioned? I think were I someone else and the request was that, hey, this is disparaging, they would say, oh yeah, sorry about that. But I think in my case, they're like, haha, eat it. But we'll just leave that alone.
Grr.
That's politics. Okay, where are we? Hey guys.
Miss a super chat?
What?
There was one back here. Portal Diver. Thank you for the super chat. Can we get a Carmilla the Bloody Countess outfit for Alice? I think she'll look great dressed up as her. The outfit would fit in the world of Alice. Quick Google to see who that actually is.
Is that like a public domain? Okay. So here's the thing. That's owned by someone.
So, no.
I mean, it's listed here on Wikipedia. It was published in 1871 to 72.
So has the expiration thingy happened yet?
It might have, but we'd have to be careful because this representation of her clothing appears to come from an anime, which is then coming from 2000. So if the request is that we have a costume that looks like this, but that this wasn't in the original book, then we would get sued.
It's the old Ruby Slippers trap.
It is the old Ruby Slippers trap. Sorry. So I imagine that there might be some ye olde representation of her that might look like some of these things, but that the request is to put something like this into the game,
Right.
like this cosplayer is wearing here. And were we to do that, then we would get in trouble.
So probably not.
Probably not. Yeah. All right. Woo! Oh, man, guys. All right. Hey, guys, here's some cash. Tip your barista. I'm the barista.
We haven't. Well, we've only. I've only been over one time, other than this year, so we haven't really been out to baristery type places.
But a barista is the person who makes your coffee. Who made your coffee this morning?
You.
I did. I made Martin his coffee.
Okay, you can have that super chat.
Thank
money.
you. Okay. Sean Carey, $10 super chat. Sorry if this is too personal, but does American keep in touch with his mom? You don't have to answer that if you don't want to. Again, sorry if it's too personal. I do, and I actually spoke with my mom earlier this week. We did have a period of time from when I was around 16. That was when I think I was kicked out or left. My mom thinks the story went differently, but anyway, the relationship was quite broken for maybe 10, 15 years after that, until I was maybe 30, and then we started to talk again. But I don't think we have your sort of typical mother-son relationship or communication. That's okay. There you go.
Seems fully answered.
Seems fully answered. Okay, let's get back to, we were looking at art review, and I was just quickly going to finish up talking about Pirate Jam.
Pirate Jam.
So yeah, we did redo, or we have settled on this year's route. So this got done. We're going to start off on Phuket, and then these blue points represent locations where we will not be going to shore. In other words, we will be on the boats for those nights, and there's no sort of going to shore for food or any other kind of stuff. That means we're true and fully out there on the water.
That's quite a lot of not going to shore. This jam.
It is. And that's one of the kind of goals we wanted to achieve this year, was more time out in nature. And then we have one stop here for 2 nights, beach bars and whatnot, and then back to the marina.
Okay.
It's going to be a bit of an adventure, because we don't know if we're even going to have enough electricity during this.
Right.
We'll see.
I guess so.
We will see.
If you had to go to land at those 3 points, can you?
No.
Right.
Well, two of them are a definitive no. This is just an island in the middle of the water. Now, from this point to land here, where there is civilization, can be done quite quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But that's on the island itself. There's nothing. There's no services, there's no structures, there's nothing. Same goes here, same goes here. But if there was a problem and we needed to get to some sort of services, you could go from the island we're on here to this bit of land there.
It looks like there's a
big
road.
There is. But that would defeat the purpose of it all.
Land pirates.
We don't want to be land pirates.
Mad Maxing it up.
There you go.
Jib it up.
All right. So, jib it up. I think it's time for a contest.
It's close enough, isn't it?
It's pretty damn close. So, we're giving away, what is it, Martin?
Poster.
Poster.
Competition giveaway number 1.
Show the people the poster.
Okay.
And so, those of you who would like to win this, you need to spam up the chat. Why don't you spam up the chat with, do you still talk to your mom? Yes or no? Do you still talk to your mom? Yes or no?
It's quite a simple one to start with.
There you go.
Okay.
And that will be the mother poster stuck in a tube and mailed to you anywhere in the world for free. because you're just awesome like that.
We're awesome for doing that.
Well, I think they're awesome. We're awesome. Everybody here is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at it go.
It's
Look
going.
At the chat. Whoosh.
A poster made of heroin. I hate my mom, says somebody. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
People saying I talk to her infrequently.
There's a lot of yes.
Yes,
coming through.
nope. Yes, nope. I talked to my mom after several years of weirdness. There's a lot going on there.
All right.
Lots going on.
Well, it is about 100 eligible people now, so
That's quite a bit.
we could roll it. Let me grab some paper to jot the winner down, so there's no fibbers.
Yes, yes, yes. Lots of people still talking to their moms. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Brittany Mans.
Ah, got a kitty cat as the picture.
So congratulations, Brittany. I hope you're still talking to your mom. And
yes.
In order for you to yes. In order for you to collect your prize, you will need to send an email to mysterious@americanmcgee.com. In that email, please include your mailing address, your phone number, the fact that you won something.
Specifically the poster.
The poster.
Don't just claim something.
There you go. And be sure to do all that in a format which I can easily turn into a mailing label.
Quite like it when they do like each line of the address on a different line.
Yeah.
I don't like it when they just do one long uninterrupted line without commas or anything.
No, that's
don't do that.
Don't make it difficult for
or you're
us.
not getting your poster.
Exactly. Okay, let's get into art review. The Battle of the Bunnies.
Yes, let's do it.
Yep. We have a lot of echo, a lot of feedback in the headphones here. So we're just gonna have to give
I was
going
to take my headphones off soon.
Yeah, I can't do it anymore. So what we do have here are two designs of two different outfits that came from Omri. The first thing that he sent along was the image you see here on the left. That is Alice in a bunny dress. And this got a fairly positive response, except for the ears. A lot of people
for the ears.
Yeah, a lot of people had an issue with the ears. Then on the right side, we have what many people would refer to as a onesie.
Yes.
Do you know what a onesie is before this?
Yes.
Yeah. So the onesie is also a little bunny suit. And so there's been quite a lot of debate about not only the designs that are presented here, but also the fact that we mentioned providing these to people as bits of DLC or as a DLC, a downloadable content item that you would get for Alice Asylum, but then also the way in which we were talking about how we would grant you that item has become quite controversial. So
yes, spark like I'm taking this off.
Exactly.
It's so hard to talk when you're interrupting yourself in your head.
Yeah, we got to fix that.
Yes, it sparked quite the debate, hasn't it? These images and talk of DLC.
Yeah, so I think first, IP Freely says, sorry to bring up Wikipedia again, but can you each tell me your favorite death from Wikipedia's list of unusual deaths? I don't know.
I have not seen this
what
list.
That list is. I suppose we could take just a moment and
fast one
and see list of unusual deaths. And the answer for me is going to be, I'm going to scroll down here.
Oh, there's so many.
There's a lot of people here who had unusual deaths. But let's just say, wow, that's a dumb way to go. Basil Brown died after he consumed 70 million units of vitamin A and 10 gallons of carrot juice. He turned bright yellow. Well, this is my favorite because he will have turned himself into an actual orange Cheeto dabbing bunny. All right. There you go. That's mine.
Maybe I'll have something a bit more modern. This guy was asphyxiated by a wedgie administered by his stepson during a fight.
There you go.
Okay, maybe.
Is that yours?
Well, why not?
There you go.
It's pretty funny.
Okay, good one. There you go.
Asphyxiated by wedgie.
I mean, that's got to be a pretty... Does that mean he had his head up his ass?
I don't know.
How
does that even work?
Sounds like you'd have to have your head up your ass in order to have that happen.
Did we? Wow. They just keep coming in.
There's a lot going on in the chat here today. We
got
a
message retracted.
$1.99 message retracted. Okay. There's Kindle saying, will the print be available to patrons in the future? Kindle, if you're referring to the mother print that we're giving away as a prize today, one of the reasons we're giving that away as a prize is because it was an exclusive print we gave away during
something
Kickstarter for Otherlands. I can't remember, but we said at that time you could only get it via that route, and then we have 3 of them sitting here now. We didn't exclude giving them away as prizes, so we're finally giving them away as prizes.
Can't sell them.
We can't sell them. So once these 3 prints are gone, that's it.
They're gone.
They're gone forever. Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of bunnies in the. Yeah,
they really are.
Okay, so
gosh darn it,
I can't
Randall
talk.
Chevalier.
Randall Chevalier. Would you consider contracting Victor industrial musician Emily Autumn to score or write original music for Asylum? See also Rasputina, etc. We're probably gonna go again with the guy who did the music for Madness Returns. No, for the original. So Vrenna is going to be doing the music for the soundtrack, Chris Vrenna. But we also had the guy who did the orchestral stuff, whose name is, it's just right on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, we'll probably have him come back to do some of the so a lot of the cello music was scored by him and I think played by his wife, Randall, what's his name? Anyway, we'll probably have him come back to do that sort of stuff. But if you have suggestions for people to do music, do drop that stuff into the community channels. You can either do that on the Wikipedia, or if you're on Discord, you could suggest it. I think there's some sort of a music suggestions.
I think there's a music section in there
on Discord.
Should be.
So there you go. All right, let us go into art review. Now, one of the things that we talked about with this bunny and we're going to discuss right now, and I'd like to get your feedback there in the comments, has to do with the idea of DLC, downloadable content. When I first announced that these things were going to be attached to the overall White Rabbit Plush, like the collector set, it was that you were going to get come on, of course I went exactly the wrong direction. The idea was you're going to get this bunny, you're going to get this patch, not this dog, you can't have the dog. You're going to get the DLC dress, and you're going to get the inmate property bag, and they're all going to come as a set. But I said this would be DLC.
Yeah.
And I think I might have used the word exclusive in one of the posts. And of course, that triggered a whole lot of people gnashing their teeth and being super angry at the idea of a piece of DLC in a game which they could not get unless they participated in this sort of offer.
Because there are completionists. Even though the dress was probably not be tied to an achievement or a trophy, there are still people that feel that they have got everything.
Right.
So this is the issue.
Yeah, so some of these people even said I have OCD. Not I, but they said that they have OCD and that they feel it necessary to collect everything. Now, one of the questions that I have in relation to that is, if that dress is a function of purchasing the rabbit, meaning purchase the rabbit and you get the dress, then you do have the avenue at all times to. But then we had people who popped up in these chats and said, but I don't want to have to purchase the rabbit. So this is a kind of interesting issue. And I also think there's another issue, which is that, yes, the game is your product and you do own the game and you want to have the 100% completion of the game. But a game has add-ons, kind of the same way, like, say, a car has add-ons, or maybe there's different variations of a music player that has add-ons. You don't necessarily get all the add-ons for the higher level package unless you pay the money for that.
Right.
So this always kind of creates this weird disconnect for me in my mind, that the expectation that all the things have to be accessible to all the people
all the time
and through all the same channels feels to me like it's a minority dictating the rules to the majority.
Right.
And I'm not a really big fan of that type of thing. Anyway, I'd like to hear...
Which is why we're discussing it.
It is why we're discussing it. So we do have 2 super chats. I'll address...
We've got 3.
3. And then while we're doing those super chats, you guys can give us your thoughts in the comments about DLC and why is it such a contentious subject. So first off, Sean Carey sends $10 and says, is there anything special you want to do with the AI in the game? Maybe make the way they avoid or target the player that much more advanced. Haven't really thought about this.
It's a bit early.
Well, it's not only a bit early, but I think that AI is one of those places where, first of all, AI in games isn't really AI. It's just a state machine. It's like, I see the player, I perform this action. Artificial intelligence suggests that there's some sort of learning mechanism and that over the course of the game that the system might rewrite and improve itself based on its interactions with the player. So AI, as far as it goes for games, is a bit of a misnomer. It's not really. I mean, we call it that, but it's not. The state machine that decides how the NPCs interact with the player, the rules in there are fairly standardized. And if you try to go and do something weird, it might make the game unpredictable to the point where it becomes frustrating and not fun. So the first foremost goal of the player's interaction with NPCs and enemies is that it be fun, not that it be quote unquote advanced. So anyway, back to the basic answer. It's a bit early. I haven't really thought about how we would change up interactions with NPCs beyond sort of what people generally expect, right? Because we're not suggesting that this game sells itself on advanced enemy interactions. In fact, it's a story-driven, puzzle-driven, linear narrative experience, and that's art and those types of things that really sell it.
There you go.
Boy, still too many super chats.
Lucas Severin, thank you for the super chat. You know how fast rabbits reproduce, right? They're multiplying here. Time to go hunting. And getting to talk to you about my idea was awesome. Thanks.
Well, thank you for the super chat, Lucas. And yes, it was great speaking with you during the crowd design session earlier this week. I'm really enjoying those.
Good fun.
They're really fun. We will upload that recording to YouTube so that everyone else can hear what it was we talked about, and you'll be able to hear our insane children like Lucas who joined into the chat to share their ideas, really excellent ideas. And I've said this before, but I feel really blessed, very humbled, and really excited by this interaction that we have with the fans. This idea of crowd design, I don't know how many other developers have done this, but I'm getting out of this a sense of kind of empowerment and creativity that I've not felt in making games before. And I've been making games for 25 years. So I think that it's working really well, and I'm really glad to see that our insane children agree with that point. Continuing on, Aaron Simone 217 sends $4.99. Thank you. Asks or says, can't wait for the games. Is there going to be a lot of DLCs? Aaron, I don't know that there's going to be a lot of DLCs. We did have DLC, for instance, in Madness Returns. That was dresses that you could get. It is not, I think, a bad way to give players access to new content, but I understand there are a lot of people that feel like, hey, I already paid a certain amount of money for this game. Don't kill me, don't hit me for microtransactions and DLC add-on prices and things like that. I kind of agree with that. I don't want the game to, inside the game itself, be filled with lots of options for you to go around buying stuff with real money. I think that's not the direction we want to go, so I'm going to be very clear about that. That being said, I do think that it is an interesting thing to have physical items that you collect that then unlock things in the game, because that way you're getting something that after you finish playing the game, you still have a physical thing of value in your hand, which that's my primary frustration with, like, I bought a product, which is a game. I paid a certain amount of money for it. I got my 20, 30, 40 hours of entertainment out of it. Now you're asking me to pump a few more dollars into it. But the truth is, like, that dress that I bought or that weapon that I upgraded, once I'm done with the game, those things are done as well. Whereas if we attached DLC, like a weapon upgrade or a dress or whatever, to a physical item, now when the game is done, even though you're done with that item in the game, you still have that item in your hand in the real world. So that's sort of what I'm thinking. again, love to hear people's comments on that. And, we're still early enough that we can together shape these ideas.
Was that the answer to that super chat?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of answers going on here. People saying they're okay with it being the plush, and I have OCD. And so people are talking now quite a bit about having OCD and what that does to their desire to collect stuff.
Yeah, but I don't know if you said it while I was upstairs, kind of what I was saying this morning, that the C in DLC needs to be defined. There's cosmetic and then there's gameplay. Mm-hmm. I can kind of understand if people felt that they were missing out on gameplay.
Right.
If there was an extra level that they hadn't played, or there was another boss or a dungeon or a puzzle.
Right.
I can kind of understand if people would be upset about missing that.
Right.
Cosmetics always seem like super optional to me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, so long as it's not doing something that breaks the game, especially if it were a multiplayer game and you were in a battle against other players and now so-and-so's got this super weapon that makes it really unfair.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want us to go in that direction, obviously. But if it's a cosmetic thing, but I do want to bring up a point here. And Courtney, I'm not, just to be really clear, I'm not bagging on you because you can't afford something, but this point I think is really interesting because I've now run into this several times, and that is someone that says, I can't afford the rabbit, this plush, so they want an option to just buy the dress in the game, even if it meant having the one you receive with the bunny has an advantage. Now, let's strip away everything for a moment here, and I just want to focus on, and again, this is not to insult or to diminish or to otherwise, this is not meant to be negative, but this point of I can't afford X, I get this a lot in our comments. People will say, I'm poor. So on my Instagram the other day, someone literally popped up in the comments and said, I want this thing, but I'm poor. And I asked the question in return, how does this work? If you admit that you're poor, and again, not to be condescending to poor people. Look, I was super poor when I was young. I mean, I literally was kicked out of my house and I had nothing to my name. So I know what it's like to be poor. But when you see a product being offered and then you go to the product page and you comment that, hey, I really want this, but I'm poor, I would genuinely like to know how we as product creators are supposed to take that advice on board. How are we supposed to respond to that? Now, I responded on Instagram by asking that person exactly what I just said. How would you like us to respond to this? Do you go around posting this comment on all the things you cannot afford? And does it in any way help or change the situation for you? That person that I had the conversation with was actually fine. And we had a dialogue back and forth and we resolved it happily. But then another person jumped into the conversation and got mad at me for asking the question of, let's talk about this, right?
White Knight to the rescue.
Yeah, so
I'll defend you.
I genuinely want to understand how, let's say, again, this is such a touchy topic, but let's say that the poor minority who cannot afford stuff should be dictating, is that the right word, or suggesting the setup for those who can afford. And I don't want this to be a battle between the haves and the have-nots. It's tough. So what do you think?
I think we should do some super chats while we mull it over.
You're trying to avoid answering the question.
Oh, yeah, we'll get back to it.
All right.
We've got some super chats building up.
Rusty Cock is back again. That stupid name.
What's my favorite George Harrison song? God, I don't know.
Why are they always hitting you up with what's your favorite songs?
I know one song that he did, but I don't know the name of it.
Okay.
It's kind of famous back in, I don't know when it was, probably in the late 80s, early 90s.
Uh-huh.
Can't remember the name of it. It's literally the only one that I know that he's done on his own.
Okay.
So, sorry.
Well, now I think, so I'm pretty sure While My Guitar Gently Weeps may have been one of his, or at least one that he was involved in heavily. And then there was the song that it's, I think, called God, or Oh God, or My God. So George Harrison wrote "While My Guitar Gently Weeps," and that is for sure for me one of my favorite of his songs. And this actually came up while we were out sailing, because there is a line in this song. It's these lines, and I think this is absolutely a beautiful line. And this was something that was brought up by Alexander, actually. But it says, "I don't know why nobody told you how to unfold your love." It's a beautiful line from the song. Anyway, I really like that song quite a bit.
Well, there you go. Americans got a favorite.
I always have a favorite. You just need to listen to more music, Martin.
Listen to lots, just not that.
All right. Kindle says, "I don't make enough money fast enough for all the American stuff America wants to do." Sorry about that. So lots of comments here on DLC, discount codes for DLC, all this kind of stuff. Doug, and now I know Doug over on Facebook was also commenting on this topic quite extensively. And he says here, PC Madness Returns, "It is possible to unlock all the DLC for the game by editing a file," meaning that the content is locked anyway. Well, this actually is a really good point. So I don't imagine that we're going to have some sort of like super security system for the code that unlocks the dress when you buy this rabbit. So here's another question. If you bought the rabbit and it came with a code, and the code was just rabbit plush dress, and you just punched that in and you had the thing, if you knew that, and then you also knew that other people were getting the code and they were using it even though they didn't have the rabbit, would it bother you?
I don't think it would bother me, but we did say we're going to have unique codes for everyone, didn't we?
I did not say that. I did not say that.
It might not be unhackable on PC, but I think console would be fairly secure for DLC stuff.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Annie Leonhardt sends $5. Thank you, Annie, for that, and says, "Today is Appreciate a Dragon Day."
Any dragons to appreciate?
I think we should appreciate all the dragons. It is, in fact, because of the confrontation with dragons that we, as heroes in our own narratives, are able to grow and transform into the people that we want to be. We should, in fact, appreciate dragons every day.
I want to appreciate Pete's dragon.
All right.
That's a flash from the past for me.
That's a good one.
I quite enjoyed that.
What was the name of the dragon from Neverending Story?
The flying dog?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's on the tip of my tongue.
God, Kratos, Crouton.
Shitting, damn it.
Don't say that. You're gonna get YouTube to demonetize our videos. So IP Freely's back with $5. Says, "What was the last computer game American played, not including his own? That would be Little Nightmares, which we have been trying to play here on the live stream, but we can't play it if I can't get through all the stuff on our to-do list."
Oh no, is that the horse?
Falcor.
Falcor. I was thinking Atreyu. Was that the horse?
That's the horse. Is Atreyu.
Right.
That part I knew, but Falcor was the dragon. Actually, I liked Falcor quite a lot.
Everyone did.
Yeah. Well, so that is, I think, the DLC conversation, as it were. And I have been surprised, to be honest, by some of the emotional kind of anger and a bit of vitriol that's been wrapped up in some of the feedback we've had on this topic.
Considering that we didn't see any of that with the Chaos Coin.
We didn't see any of that with the Chaos Coin, but people said that the reason why apparently is that the Chaos Coin is still in the game for everyone, even those who didn't put anything on a Chaos Coin.
Right.
Whereas with this, Atreyu is the kid, not the... Yeah. Artrex is the horse.
Well, it's been a long time. It's literally probably been like 15 years since I saw the movie.
Yeah. Martin, Rusty's not going to let you off the hook here. Do you like tea?
Do like tea.
Well, of course he likes tea. He's a Brit.
Dunking my custard creams in a cup of tea.
Yeah.
There's nothing better.
There you go. So yeah, I think that we may have beat this DLC conversation to death, and I think that you, Martin, came up with a suggestion for how to address the dress DLC. What was that? What was your?
It's people who get the plush get the dress code. But for people who want the plush who didn't get it in time.
You mean want the dress code?
the dress code, came with the plush for them. It can just be a timed release. So people who bought the plush get the dress. They get it from day one. But let's say after 6 months or a year, it becomes available to everyone as optional cosmetic DLC. So completionists can still get it, but people who got the plush still get it early and have the specialness.
Okay, so it's a timed release so that at some point everyone can get the DLC, but the people who have the plush will get it first.
Yeah, I think that should fix all issues,
Okay.
unless people in the chat can tell me that I've messed up in some horrible way with my idea.
Let's see what they say in the chat. Someone here does say, Luna S says, if people win a bunny in the stream, do they get the dress? The answer to that is yes, but you will have to keep in touch with us on that point, Luna. We do have a record of people who have won things. This is one of the reasons why we ask you to email us and to say what you won. Especially important with these rabbits. That way we have your name recorded somewhere, and at the appropriate time you can email us and say, hey, I want my code, and then we'll give you your code. So
yeah,
there you go. A lot of people in the chat saying that your suggestion works for them.
It's a good suggestion.
Yes.
Well done, me.
Well, there you go.
Portal Diver, thank you for the super chat. Speaking about the Chaos coin, will there be a reminder sent out to finalize any message before it gets locked on the coin before the game is released?
I think so.
It's easy enough to click a button on SurveyMonkey to remind people that haven't yet.
Yep.
But then again, if you have already done a message in your name and you want to potentially change it before
you just
lockdown,
follow that link again.
But would they be reminded?
We'll do a reminder via Patreon and do via all of our usual social media channels and things like that.
So probably yes.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, so for the Chaos Coin, don't worry. We will be putting out lots of notice about that stuff. And I mean, you'll know because you'll be seeing that, oh my God, they're getting close to releasing the game. And we'll know because we'll be like, oh my God, we're getting close to releasing the game.
We'll know.
We're going to have to make good on all these promises that we made. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that too much. So let's get back to this. So there were the two bits that got done. The first one, come on. I always go exactly in the wrong. And literally, if I had gone the other way around, oh, it's not even in here. What's going on? Okay, well, we'll just look at this one. So these were the two that he did. The first one, as we mentioned before, was this dress. And I think a lot of people liked the dress. Now, I'm going to tell you something that once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it and you'll hate me for it. But a lot of people mentioned that the ears make her head look like a penis. So I said it.
It kind of does.
Yeah.
I think most people notice that. It's not something people need to be told.
No, and I pointed out that the backside looks like the female bits a bit. And anyway, when I said this to Omri, he just sort of laughed. So I know that if you look at Omri's other artwork that he does, it's definitely not safe for work type of stuff. There's a lot of sexuality and kind of suggestive stuff going on in there. So I think that we shouldn't be surprised if from time to time that pops up in his art. But I do feel like, hey, Omri, that's a bit inappropriate. It's a 13-year-old girl. Please don't put a penis on her head.
Please don't.
But this also brings me to another point about Omri's art and about the representation of Alice in these images in general. I still feel very strongly that she is being represented as too mature, as too kind of, I don't know if sexualized is the right word, but I mean, in this image, she is wearing quite a lot of makeup. And I don't feel like it's necessarily appropriate. One of the things that I had hoped with this onesie was that it would communicate the sort of frightened child aspect of Alice. And I don't feel like the proportions that we're looking at here necessarily sort of communicate anything about her being a child, and certainly not of her being frightened. In fact, I think that when we see Alice in this rabbit dress, it may be that she's unarmed. We may do this early in the game in the denial section, and I think that is a point where she's mostly sneaking around.
Right. Yeah, it's like all of them. I mean, Omri does fantastic images, But yeah, it's still a little on the mature side. Some people say that it's a bit figure hugging? It should be maybe a little baggier, perhaps.
Right.
The onesie. So yeah, I mean, there's certainly room for editing.
Right.
But
well, I do hope that Omri and Joey will both take it under advisement that we do need to try to capture more of the sense of the scared little girl. And I think a lot of times the costumes, these dresses we're coming up with, I know the cosplayers love them, but I also know that like the onesie got a bit of pushback because people felt it looked a bit too modern. The concept of a onesie feels a bit modern. And I think that some people had suggested that, hey, pajamas, as we understand them, probably did exist back in the day, but that they wouldn't have had this sort of shape and this kind of
a bit
look
more
to them.
Baggy, sackclothy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, we got a couple super chats piling up here. So Rusty Cock is back again. That name. It reminds me, there's a YouTuber called AVG who does a channel where he takes apart tools. He's up in the great white north outback of Canada, Canukia, and he's got a really funny kind of lingo that he uses. Skookum is one of his favorite words, or will it chooch. So if you're into tools and workshop and men in their workshops and funny words like chooch, you should go check out AVG. But anyway, at the end of every one of his videos, he recommends to the audience, his closing line is, all right, boys, keep your dick in a vice, and he's out. And so every time I'm seeing Rusty Cock's name, it just... Anyway, do you think Lewis Carroll was under the influence when conceiving Alice, and do you think it matters? I don't know, and I don't know.
Probably doesn't matter.
I don't know, and I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know if he's under the influence, and I don't know that it matters. I wish I could give you more of an answer on that, but I just don't know. So
sometimes that's the answer you get.
I actually
sometimes.
I go out of my way not to dive into any other of the Alice lores or into any of the history or biography or autobiographies about Lewis Carroll. I don't want to know. I've said that many times before.
There you go.
Sean Carey, $20 super chat, says, does America never keep in touch with the artist Adrian Carmack? Does his macabre art ever inspire you to take a darker tone with your own games? Interesting story about Adrian Carmack.
What is it?
But first, we're going to do contest time.
Oh, okay.
And during contest time, I will give you the story of Adrian Carmack. Martin, tell the people what they're going to win.
They're going to win Mother.
You've got it upside down.
There we go. Look at that go.
There you go. This is limited edition. This is number 2 of the 3 that we have in our hands right now. This is the giant Mother art print from Alice Madness Returns. This is in the Alice Madness Returns art of book, if you have that book. And so what we need you to do is spam up the chat with... What is your favorite George Harrison song?
Yeah.
Take that. So Sean Carey, while they're spamming the chat with their favorite George Harrison song, Adrian Carmack and I did not have a positive relationship while I worked at ID. And in fact, on the day on which I was fired, I actually went to him on that day, and having just been fired from my job of 4 years at ID. And he was in the room when I was fired, and he saw me cry, and I was not happy about it. It was a devastating moment for me. I went to him after that, and I said, can I ask, now that I will no longer be employed here, why it is that you've never liked me? Because he was always extremely cold to me. He was always extremely distant. And he looked at me and he goes, there's not enough time in the world for that.
So you probably don't keep in touch with him?
I don't keep in touch with him. Yeah, okay. Alice on Elm Street, 2 words, bunny, slippers. All right, Alice on Elm Street.
Bunny slippers would be good.
There you go. Spam, 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 spam.
Spammity spam. Did we miss a super chat?
No, I think that's it. There's a Canadian 20 and a US 20 somewhere up in there.
It felt like maybe there was one more that might have snuck past.
I don't know, man. It might have. I think you can click on them.
So
that's a no. And that's, ow, my nose. Way to look at the rabbit. Oh, there you go. You do that. I can't see that.
From Siri, a way to look at the rabbit DLC would be to look at how Riot sells their ultimate skins, $30 plus, just for an in-game item. With the rabbit, you are also getting a real-life item. I wanted to buy the plush just to have it. The DLC is a bonus.
Well, I agree with that 100%. And I feel like the people who are complaining about the situation with this are, I have a little bit of a difficult time to thinking that for $45 you get a bunny and you get a Lulu patch and you get this bag and you get the DLC. It's like
free worldwide shipping,
and it's free worldwide shipping. Like what do you what do you want?
But there are people who are like, I don't want a goddamn doll. I just want the dress in the game.
Yeah, I suppose.
So you've got to try and do both, I guess.
All right. Looks like we have enough people now in the chat. We can do the contest. So here we go. Jennifer Daw. Woo! You win an art print.
Look at that. We
will send it all the way up to you there in Kanukia land.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Jennifer. I believe you've watched this stream enough times to know what you need to do, but I'll tell you anyway. Send an email. You have my email address. Include your address. I know I probably have it already, but do it again anyway and tell us that you've won. And then we will send you a poster.
That's the song that I was thinking.
I
was wondering if that was him or not.
Yeah, this is the sort of late model George Harrison when he got into the kind of radio poppy stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that.
It was pretty big back in the day.
It was.
In ye olde Englandy land.
Yeah, I mean, this was a big hit on the early days of MTV. This is one of the sort of like MTV classic songs.
When MTV used to play music
When
videos.
they actually played music, yes, those were the days. Instead of shaming us about being white or male or any of the other things that they want us to know. Francesca Ramsey, I'm talking about you.
Yeah, whoever you are.
Yeah, she's just awful. All right, so here we go. It's rigged, says Truth Decay. Maybe it is. You'll have to talk to Nightbot about that.
Perhaps.
So back to art review. We did have one of our patrons send along this and a few other, actually, images, which were her conceptions of what the rabbit costume could look like. Now, one of the points that was...
Fred and Desiree.
Fred and Desiree. Thank you for that, Fred and Desiree. I don't know if it was Fred or Desiree who did this, or both. But she is trying to create a look that is a bit more, I think, Victorian, as she says here, perhaps a bit more feminine. Now, I'm not sure that the more feminine aspect of this makes sense, given that we are talking about a 13-year-old girl, so maybe need a little bit of adjustment there. The ears, though, I think is a point very well taken. Now, this is one of the big issues that I had with Omri's art, was that the ears, I like this. I like the ones that stick up like that. That's very rabbity to me. This is not rabbity. Damn it. Where is my art?
Did you go the wrong way again?
I don't know, man. I'm really bad at this. Usually I try to cut away when I'm searching for art, but I just can't seem to. There we go. So these ears are all big and floppy, and like we said, they look like something that once you see it, you can't stop seeing it. I'm not a fan of these. I think a lot of people who were commenting on these things. What do you think about these ears?
They're too floppy for me, but equally, I'm not sure I'm a super big fan of the one that you pointed out from Madness Returns, the Late But Lucky dress.
You are not a fan of that one.
I like the Fred and Desiree, sort of up and then flop down.
You're just talking about in terms of the ears.
Yes.
I see.
Just ear structure.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why people... I understand why they were put off by this. This is not a good silhouette, Omri. This is not a good silhouette. I think this got a little bit better, but this still looks weird.
Yeah, where's the Fred and Desiree image again?
And so then the one that was sent along by our patrons, Fred and Desiree. And if you want to see the other ones that they did, you could go over to Patreon, and in the community tab, they did post up a collection of these. So you like this?
Yeah, up and then flopping down.
Right.
It's, I don't know, looks good to me.
Do you have any comments relative to this that you want to read off while we're here? But one specific to this topic.
Lots of them. Jana North. I love the onesie. If it was real and I was wearing it. For Alice, however, it's too grown up. Figure hugging is all wrong. Told you there was a figure hugging comment. It should be baggy about the midriff, and also the legs would be looser, like PJ bottoms.
I agree. I think there's a lot of things that we would want to improve about the onesie. What about on the dress? So this is when we when we did the dress post, I had suggested the onesie idea, but in relation to the dress, I think there were tons and tons of comments. People did want an eye patch, which I think is a well taken point.
I like that from the Omri image, that one eye is off.
Right. I think it should be a patch that she wears, like a pirate patch. Like she puts the thing, you're able to have the patch, because that would be a fun thing as a cosplayer, to actually have that patch that you put over your eye and it's got a button sewn onto it, right?
Right.
That I think I would like. And of course I made that point here. Thank you, Austin Cook, for that comment.
We have what's this comment here from Christine Phillips saying Frez and Desiree's design is spot on. Absolutely love it if you wanted to go that onesie direction for the outfit. However, comparing the three of these, I love Omri's dress the most, but hate the ears.
The ears are very controversial.
They are.
So, Omri, we need you to fix the ears. Now, I'm curious to hear from, our patrons and those people in the chat, like, what kind of ears do you want to see? Personally, I like the ones that are on the Late But Lucky dress, again, because I'm thinking about it from a cosplay perspective. If I were going to go out to a con and I was going to wear this outfit, I'd want people to be able to see me from a distance with these ears sticking up. And then from a distance, they'd be like, ooh, that might be somebody, playing that Alice onesie or Alice dress, the rabbit dress. And I think that'd be quite cool. Lots of other comments over on Patreon. Any ones that you picked out there? Here's a comment regarding DLC from Rafal. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name. That as long as anyone can buy the DLC, I have no issues against tying it to the plush. That's another point I made to someone, I think on Instagram, was that, look, the Rabbit Plush doll will be for sale forever. You can at any time purchase that, which means that you would get the code for the DLC. So,
excellent. Anthony Morvan says the rabbit head on her back must show teeth, because Tweedledee's onesie opens on the front. Yeah, a lot of times Anthony makes, I think, what are very they're quite special comments. He sees the world through eyes that are very different than ours. I think the way I want to say that. The politest way to say it. I don't want to be rude. So that rabbit needs teeth, does it? Well, I think he's saying that this rabbit, there should be teeth back there. Right. Yeah. I guess. I do want to see a revision of this, and I want to see a revision that sort of demodernizes it and then fixes the ear problem. Well, here, Terry Vernon says, the problem I have with the onesie is that it doesn't really feel Victorian, which is the feel you get with the original rabbit dress. Right. The version by Fred and Desiree I really like. Yep, I agree. It's more Victorian-y, I guess, to Terry. Yeah, I think that's right. So I do think it would be nice to get another version done. Now, the problem, for Fred and Desiree's version, I think there are elements of this that work. So they have done the strap, which contains the button. Mm-hmm. That's correct. I think their ears are quite interesting. I get the feeling that Fred and Desiree must do costume design for Renaissance fairs, because there's something about the way this flows and this pose that reminds me very much of, have you ever been to one of those? I have not. A dress-up fair where you all put on Renaissance clothes? I haven't. No. In Texas, there used to be one called Scarborough Fair, and we would go and get dressed up and be ye oldie ladies and ye oldie men of ye oldie times. Is that the Scarborough Fair from the song? I do believe that it is. But I also think there is a Scarborough Fair in the UK that song may have been making reference to. There is Scarborough, seaside. Yeah. Town, city, whatever. Sean Carey sends along another super chat, $10. Thank you, Sean, and says, although American didn't originally like the fact that EA put his name on the title of the first Alice, do you think they did you a favor by doing so? The short answer to that question is yes, they did do me a favor by doing so, but you're right. In fact, I was a bit put off by it, namely because I had gone and told the team that I had lobbied to get the name taken off. And then some weeks prior to finaling the game and getting ready to put it in the box, I got a phone call and they said, oh, by the way, we wanted you to know that we've decided to keep your name on the box anyway. And so I had sort of won this victory of, hey, I've lobbied to get the name removed, and everybody cheered and yay. And then I had to go back into the room and say, guys, this is, and they weren't happy about that.
So,
Did they believe you that you really didn't want it off, or were they like, he wants his name on the box?
I don't know. But I mean, if I were in their position and that had happened, I would have assumed that the guy was lying and wanted that name on the box stuff, and so it was conflicting. It wasn't an easy situation to be stuck in. Timothy J. Mio.
Hey guys, any plans of selling the Mysterious Store art prints as canvas art? If not, any concerns or objections if I have one printed for myself? Would love to have a canvas print of White Rabbit at my place.
Well, we've done canvas prints in the past, and we've had issues with them fading. They're also a bit heavier for us to ship, and so you can, anybody can go into the Patreon posts and everywhere else. You can get the images. If you know of a place, an image you like and a place to get them printed, go and have them printed. The main thing you're really buying from Mysterious is that it's coming directly from us and I'm signing them. So if you're interested in it being a sort of collector item, if you think that my signing them makes them such, then you would buy from Mysterious. If not, you could always just go and print one on your own. Nothing going to stop you from doing that. All right. Let's see.
We all caught up.
We're all caught up, but I do have to deal with this. So Sinestry has pasted this with the capitals over and over and over again. Have you seen Coraline?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. We done there?
I like it. I like Coraline.
I thought it was fine. I think it's just fine. Nothing wrong with it at all. But that's not the way that works, Sinestry. You're supposed to do a super chat. Naughty Sinestry. I just feel like I'm worried that person is over there like blood coming out of one of their eyes. Like, why won't they respond?
Notice me, senpai.
Notice me. What about Coraline? Uh-oh, I woke up the dog. Don't worry, dog. It's fine. We're just having fun over here.
To sleep.
Go back.
Under your blanket.
Go back
it's
to
freezing
sleep.
down here.
All right. So here we go. People still commenting on the dress. So someone here, Sam Vesquez, says, I think people are just sick of having to pay extra money for bonus content when video games are released. So the difference between paying $100 for a game that already costs $80 versus donating extra to help get a game made gets lost on them. By the way, the onesie needs some more work in progress. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good point, Sam. I don't think we want to be in a position where we're saying to you, here's this game. It cost you $60 or $80, as you say here. Is that how much games cost now?
Maybe some like special editions. Shouldn't it be like 60 normally?
I don't know. But anyway, let's just say it costs 80.
All right.
I see people saying things like nickel and diming and cash grab. And I struggle with this because, look, at the end of the day, we are creating content and then people are deciding whether or not they want to buy that content. No one forces anyone to buy things. That is your choice within the free market. But at the same time, like, I could understand why somebody would say, the game shows up and it's sort of crippled, or you had expectations for what the final game looked like and those things weren't in there. I'll admit I'm still struggling a bit with the idea that if we then release a physical good and then that somehow links to the game, I don't feel like you're being nickeled and dimed or cash grabbed, because ultimately you have a choice to buy or not something. So
I think a comment that I see a lot in regards to people hating on DLC is they get into their conspiracy theory brain that the content is all made as part of the main game, and people are removing it specifically to nickel and dime people to get extra money.
But like, here's an argument. That every time you go to McDonald's or Chipotle, in case you want to get diarrhea. So you go to Chipotle and they're making everything fresh and you get diarrhea. But at the end of the day, Chipotle throws a bunch of stuff out, right? Because the fresh stuff that they made it's waste. It's just going to go in the trash. So could you then go into the restaurant and say, hey, you're going to just throw a bunch of stuff out. It's already made. You're going to throw it out tonight. Give it to me for free. Or, damn it, I know you're going to throw that stuff away, so why don't you give that to us now? Or why can't does that analogy work?
I'm struggling with it.
Okay.
But
there's a super chat here from Sean Carey for $5. Everything that American doesn't want keeps boosting his profile. The Wikipedia page, his name on Ellis. The Nietzsche said, that which you resist will only persist. And it is true that the more we try to fight against certain things. Look, that's why I put my Wikipedia page up on the screen there. I mean, there is no point in resisting it. It is just there, and we need to deal with it. That being said, I don't mind sort of telling. I think the story you guys might find entertaining, so we'll see. IP Freely.
Yeah, thank you for the super chat. American has said in the past that he's toying with the idea of making Asylum with a retro engine. Would that mean the game will not have HD graphics, or not necessarily?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I mean, we did sort of mention this off the cuff, and I think for about a week, I thought the idea was kind of cute.
From a technology standpoint, since the story is before original Alice, what if the game looked like it was made before
exactly.
technology around the original Alice time?
We have talked about this.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I know Martin's not a fan. And I think if we were to go out and ask the audience, most people would say they're not fans. Then again, they wouldn't know if they were fans or not until we presented the thing, because we might present something that's absolutely stunning, but also done in a retro style. And you can't say you don't like something if you haven't seen it, right? So, I mean, of course, people do say they don't like stuff they've not seen. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm just trying to imagine it looking like PS1 game.
Right.
With like stitching and like really crappy draw distance and chugging.
No, we wouldn't do that. It would be stylized to look old school, but it would be in a modern engine. But anyway, IP, this is, I'll just say, anyway, IP Freely.
Me too.
I just know that Rusty Cock and IP Freely, they're all sitting there going, aha, I got him to say it again.
It's like we're Mo. From,
yeah.
What? Is there an IP Freely here?
Exactly. IP Freely. Anyway, let's say that we are putting a pin in that question and we're not answering it just yet. But I want to be clear that in the discussions and the explorations that I did recently going to Thailand, all the outsourcers that we met with, we are talking about a AAA, high quality, modern day game, not about a retro game. So
what was the game that Yggdrasil made, the horror?
It's called, I forget.
Something Home?
Yeah, Sweet Home. Home Sweet Home.
Home Sweet Home.
Home Sweet Home.
Check it out if you want to see what they're capable of.
Yeah, they did some pretty good stuff. All right. Back to your comments that you've got over there, I think.
Yes. We've got some more love here from Lily Cromwell for Fred and Desiree's mock-up. Prefers it to Omri's dresses, and then says sorry. So yeah, sorry for you, Omri.
You don't have to be sorry about that.
It's fine, Lily.
It's totally fine.
A lot here about DLC as well. Should we switch to that?
Sure.
I love the outfit, probably referring to either one of the rabbit ones. As for unlocking the DLC, it makes sense to me as a person who plays Final Fantasy XIV. There are in real life items that will give you an exclusive DLC code for a minion related to your real life purchase.
Yeah, there you go.
So there is precedent for real life stuff coming with codes.
Well, I think so. I mean, there was the Disney game also that had
Skylanders, whatever it was called.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that there's precedent out there for buy physical stuff, get the in-game stuff, and that's what I would like to do. I'd like that the game be a kind of catalog for all the things, and that is already the way that the games previously kind of work. People want to buy, say for instance, the Omega necklace. Well, the game is the advertisement for and the catalog for the Omega necklace. Something to think about.
Yep.
This is, speaking of Omri, a really wonderful piece that he turned in this week. This is based off of Alice's encounter at the moment of shock, chaos. Is it? Yeah, so shock. This would be her encounter with chaos, which leaves her in a state of shock. And he had said in relation to this image that he wanted to try to move away from the fire motif because it feels like we've used fire to death. We've burnt down fire.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's gone for something here that are clearly cooler, white, bright colors that obscure Alice's vision. And I think this is really appropriate for anybody who's ever experienced true shock. You'll know that there's a kind of ringing in your ears and an emotional numbness and a distance. Everything kind of feels very far away. Your brain sort of shuts down and stops working. So I think this is a beautiful representation of shock. And of course, she's got her little rabbit in there.
And kind of weirdly, even though it's from behind, she does look younger.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those few places where we're actually getting a character, an Alice character represented in a shape and size that I think is befitting of the type of character that we want to create for the game.
She's got big feet, though.
Her feet are unusually big. I'd say that if we were to take this foot and measure it and put it up, she would have. Maybe she's got like some sort of super foot power. Maybe this will be her add-on. Yeah. Okay. But this is also showing the concept of the rabbit being a character in and of himself, and that is something that we also want to achieve in the game. Is that the rabbit is more than just a stuffed inanimate object, but that it is a companion, that it's going to have lines of dialogue, that it's going to be comforting, it's going to guide her, it's going to instruct her. I've talked about this a bit in previous design discussions and on previous live streams, that where the Cheshire Cat is, I think, relatively standoffish. You know, it's sort of, he's got that cutting wit and he doesn't really care much if Alice lives or dies. He thinks it's up to her to survive on her own. The rabbit, because we're dealing with a much younger Alice, that character, the rabbit character, is going to be a guiding companion who cares.
I also quite like the image from probably months ago now, though, where it's kind of like the morphing of the rabbit from the doll to the rabbit we know.
Right.
From the other games.
Yeah, yeah. Although it's a little weird because that suggests that the rabbit, the White Rabbit in those previous games, you know, does somehow derive from this rabbit plush, and I don't know yet that we've decided that. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. But this image, I think, contains a lot of really good imagery. Hey, Alice,
they're waving.
We've burned down. Come back. And I think, you know, the fact that we've got a representation of these two characters, this is a very, I think, very fitting, iconic image for what it is that we're going to try to build in this game. This works really well for me. So Omri and Joey and anyone else out there listening who's going to be doing art on the project, let's try to do more of this. And for those of you who are watching, if you can imagine this character, this little girl sporting the rabbit outfit as a kind of comfort, as a sort of escape, then maybe that'll make more sense to you. If you can imagine that little girl wearing this, and it's dirty and it's grungy, but she's able to hide inside of it, that is what I'd like to achieve here.
Well, somebody in the comments, there's it, Rachel. I could imagine the bunny embracing her and wrapping into the outfit in some way.
Yes, exactly.
That look cool.
Yeah, it's exactly
good
right.
One, Rachel.
It's like a transformer. You know, it's just she can ride around inside the bunny if she needs to.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's a bit of art that came in from Omri this week.
Mm-hmm. Looking down at me notes, see if we've got anything else about this. Sadie Mae Dillon. I think the onesie is a phenomenal choice for a dress, especially considering we're dealing with a child Alice. I think it coincides with your statement of taking comfort in her plush. Reflects really well on the idea of her trying to shelter herself, or at the very least, soften the blow from all of the destruction. Again, since she is a child.
Yep. Well, let's get a new version of this done. Let's make her a bit more childlike, adjust the ears, remove the knife. Let's have her look like someone who is taking shelter inside of this outfit. Maybe give the outfit a little more space instead of being so form-fitting.
Mm-hmm.
And
so.
You know, I think in a sense it's like the rabbit plush becomes a sort of blanket that she drapes over herself. Could be quite interesting. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that this dress is pretty damn cool, but this would be something that she would have later in the game. So this would be early in the game, and this would be something that she's wearing when she's defenseless and she's sneaking around, especially in the zone we're calling denial. But later in the game, because there's going to come a moment where she acquires, we talked about this during the design stream the other day, she acquires the classic blue dress. And at that moment, I think she also acquires the ability to fight. And then from that point forward, she'll be able to collect dresses. And so this should be a dress that she collects. And this would be the sort of grown-up, more mature version of the onesie. This is the child's representation of that outfit, and this is the more adult-like representation of that outfit.
I like it.
Yeah, I think that works very well. Let us know in the comments what you think of that. If you like that idea, smash like.
Jib it up.
Jib it up.
Alice on Elm Street, super chats. What about the bunny being utilized in different ways, like inflating to bounce up levels or flattening to soften a fall?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think having her work with the bunny. So, for instance, the bunny could hold a button over here, click, and then she can run over there and go through a door that the bunny has held the button for, that type of thing. That could be really useful. That you could give instructions to wait in a certain place, or that the bunny might proactively help out in battle, or like you said, a fall or something like that could be really good. Yeah, could be quite good.
Look at the time.
It is contest time. What's going to be the question for contest time, Martin?
The question is, what anime character do I have on my T-shirt?
What anime
I'll give
character?
you a clue.
It just looks white. Oh, there's a little bit of brown.
There we go.
All right. So Martin has an anime character on his T-shirt. You're not going to win anything for guessing correctly, but go for it. And the winner...
The mother print. Ooh.
There you
Amazing. Go. The last one we're giving away today. Only 3 prints today.
I do see Greg asking a question here. If the dresses are story related now. Yeah, well, here's the thing, Greg. The placement of this item, we may have it that this DLC of the plush, there is another version of this that's already in the game. This is stuff we need to kind of sort out. So let's not get too wrapped up in the details of this just yet, because I remember none of this is like set in stone. A lot of this is work in progress. So we'll figure that type of stuff out. But that is a very good point. We don't want a dress or a costume that you can only get as DLC somehow linked to the story, right?
Yes.
So we will figure this out.
What do we got here? Oh, we've got one winner. One person got it.
Are you going to say who?
Well, once we roll.
What the hell is Bible Slack? Or Bible Black?
Bible Black, I don't know.
Never heard of that before. Anime character, of course. Spirited Away character, no clue. One Punch.
We shall tell the truth after we click roll it.
All right, here we go. That is Angelicoma Nightingale. What's wrong? You don't want to write down that
Such
name.
a long name to write down.
There you go. All right, so congratulations, Angelicoma Nightingale. You have won the contest. That is for the mother print, and you do need to send an email to mysterious@americanmcgee.com. Be sure to include your name, your phone number, your mailing address, and format all that information in a way which does not cause me to go into a rage and have more disgusting details added to my Wikipedia page.
Okay.
Such as then American murdered Martin because the address was formatted poorly.
And there we go. It is, in fact, Saitama. One Punch Man saying, okay.
Wow, One Punch Man. So somebody did get that.
A lot of people got it.
That's good. All right.
I like One Punch Man.
What is each of your favorite games from the 16-bit era, says Sean Carey?
Which era was that? Was it Mega Drive?
No.
Or Genesis to you?
Nintendo was also 16-bit.
Which one? SNES?
Well, look, all I have to do is say Mario Brothers, and then I'm just done. I don't have to worry about it.
I don't know. There's lots of games from back then. Hard to say. Maybe I liked Second Samurai. Don't know if that was 16-bit. I'm going to say Second Samurai.
There you go. Angelicus Fang. I don't know. Anyway, sends $5. Thank you for that. Angel Lucius Fang. Would you ever bring Alice's therapist from Madness Returns into Asylum? I think that's a good question. We have talked about this. I think there will be some hinting at his presence, as would be, I think, expected. She would have known of him and who he was because he would have been going to visit her sister. And I think having either something that looks like a subliminal hint to him or it's a representation of him is very likely, yes. So we'll see. All right. The shiny head was a dead giveaway, says Rachel.
I think so.
She had
Some people
you
said
down.
Krillin, though, so it's like a bluff.
She had you down from the start.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we just take a little quick break here? We are heading into the final half hour of
Home
today's
stretch.
show. At the end of today's show, we are going to be giving away...
For the final prize, rabbit plus bag.
Yes, we're going to give away a plush rabbit and a bag. Did you know that there's an extra button in the bag? That was what people asked for.
Is there?
Yeah, every bag has a button. Did you know that? Clearly you didn't know that.
I do now.
Now you know. I don't. This one's not coming to me though. Somewhere there it is.
There it is.
So because we had this debate and our fans asked that, oh, come on, button. There's a lot of crap on this desk. So our fans asked that we look at all this stuff. That is the button. That's the spare button.
It's a different color.
This one is black, brown. This one's brown, and then the Bunnies is black. Anyway, so there is a spare button in the bag, and of course there is a bag. The bag's quite nice. So this is what we're giving away. We're going to give away a patient property bag and a rabbit. But first,
are we going to talk about freaky fandoms?
we're going to talk about our sponsors over at Freaky Fandoms. What have Freaky Fandoms got on this week, Martin?
This week, it's still the 29 days of horror. What do they call it? 26 movies from hell. Yeah, I was close.
Well, 26 Movies from Hell is a talk show, which, along with Four Brains, One Movie, and Dinner with Lynch, are made up with or created by their friends Bradley Cornish and Dan Pullen. And this episode of Freaky Fandoms actually sees our friends at Freaky Fandoms inviting their friends Bradley and Dan over for a freaky get-together.
Okay.
I guess you'd say. So, Andrew and Deborah have these guys over, and they're going to talk about a movie called Stage Fright.
Which we watched the trailer of before going live.
We did, and
it was...
Martin said almost from the beginning, the owl did it. And then in the trailer, the owl proceeds to murder violently many people.
It's an all right trailer.
It's
no Greasy Strangler.
Greasy Strangler was pretty special.
But
but this is an Italian horror slasher, and it is interesting to say the least. So if you would like to hear our friends Andrew and Deborah and their friends Bradley and Dan talk more about cult classic films like Stage Fright, well then head over to Freaky Fandoms. They are on Patreon, and you can also go to them at freakyfandomspodcast.com. All the links for all their fun stuff are in the description below. And do keep in mind that by going and being freaky with them, you are helping to support us here, because Freaky Fandoms are our largest individual sponsor, and they have been for many years great sponsors of my work, my original patrons, as it were. So please do go give them some love, because they give us a lot of love.
Speaking of patrons, should we big up our Patreon while we're at it?
We could do. We do have a $15 super chat from Ray Weatherford. He's also been a very kind patron over the years. Thank you, Ray. That will go to our pizza fund
We're having pizza today.
I think we should.
Yeah.
It's my last day as a I guess I could
Are we saying?
Could I say that?
It's up to you.
Maybe. It's my last day as a single man. I mean, I'm not single, but this will be my last day as a... Can you be a bachelor and be in a relationship?
No.
Anyway, this will be my last day not being a married person. So tomorrow I'm going to get married.
Who knew?
Who knew? And
I didn't until like 3 days ago.
So we're gonna go spend all this super chat money on pizzas and pizzas
and hookers. and blackjack.
Hey, none of that now. So thank you, Ray, for that. That will be money well spent on pizza wedding celebration. Woo! So where were we? We were going to big up our Patreon. What is our Patreon, Martin?
It's where all of the Insane Children and Alice fans and everybody congregates to get first dibs on all the art and discussion and everything that we're posting up.
It is
access to the Discord,
it is
etc., etc.
It is quite a crazy little community we're building over there. And of course, right now, we are working our way towards a goal of 3,222 patrons, at which point we will unlock this White Rabbit Plush collector set. Is that right?
Yes.
So we are currently at 2,739.
We've really hammered the advertising and the promotion of this recently, and it has shot up quite a lot.
Well, you can see it right there.
But we need just a few hundred more to hit the goal. So
we've been up in that territory before, and we are
Chaos Coin territory.
That's right. So we are heading up there again. So if you are not yet a patron, do please consider clicking the link in the description below. You can do the patron thing for just $1.
There is now a $1 tier. It's never been easier to join at $1.
That's right. And once we hit 3,222, then the Rabbit Plush Collector set will unlock. And of course, that contains the Rabbit Plush, as mentioned. It also contains a Lulu embroidered patch, and it also contains somehow
don't
a
ask
me yet.
code.
There's going to be something with the dress and the rabbit dress, and we don't know yet. And then you also get this fantastic bag, the inmates patient property bag. So head over to Patreon, sign up for $1. You'll become an insane child. You'll have access to all kinds of fun stuff. And then you will also help us to unlock this, which we will then send out to everybody who qualifies. So anyway, details about all that stuff are over on Patreon. And go do the thing. Do the thing now. The link is in the description below. If you like what we're doing here, if you like all this crazy art, if you like all this crazy American and Martin action with hookers and blackjack, then go be a patron. Here we go. Doug says, are you aware of the backlash at Patreon? Yes, I know that, Doug. I have commented on this in the past, and it's really a shame what Patreon is doing to us as creators. And if there is ever a alternative viable platform, I will move. AJP sends a super chat, says, congratulations. Thank you, AJP. That's very sweet of you. P.S. Please make adult bunny onesies for us to purchase on Mysterious. Yes, I think that making these onesies as actual things would be a fantastic idea. I would, by the way, Martin and I would wear these onesies on every single live stream if we had them.
Maybe not every single, but
no, Martin, you must wear the onesie on every single live stream.
Right.
I as your boss, I'm telling you, you must wear the onesie forever, always. Thank you, AJ, for the super chat and the congratulatory message.
While we were bigging up Patreon, there was quite a lot of congratulations messages coming in.
I saw that. Thank you all very much for that. Timothy J. Mio says, more pizza for this man's wedding. Flips the table. Yay! Woo! Don't flip the table and trying to go to jail for that.
It's a very delicious pizza place nearby.
It is. Thank you for the $10, Timothy. It's very sweet of you. There's a lot more rabbits. There we go. Rusty Cock
is back. Sherlock Holmes is now in the public domain. Any plans to adapt that?
So, Rusty, I don't know if you know this, but the writer on the Alice games, my business partner and creative partner, RJ Berg, is very well known, not just for his work on Alice and the other games that I've worked on him with. He has also worked on a whole series of games based on Sherlock Holmes, and he did those while at EA. So if you go and you look at his credits over on Moby Games, that's still a thing. So there's RJ. There's a picture of him from 2015. I think that was in the Spicy Horse Studio. He has all of his credits here on the Alice games, obviously. Lots of my games. But he also did, you'll see here in 1996, The Lost Files of Sherlock Holmes. And he also worked on some Star Wars games at Lucas. And so, yeah, if anybody was going to talk to you about Sherlock Holmes games, that would be RJ. He's been there, done that. And yeah, we might think it was fun to do that again. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so any more?
Lucas asks where I keep going. People keep ringing the doorbell.
Yeah.
But, I think if we're not expecting posters, I should probably just ignore it in future.
I was going to say that, but then people would think I was bossing you around.
Why
aren't you wearing your bunny onesie? God damn it, Martin.
Because it doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, okay. So there you go. I think we've done enough of talking about our Patreon and also about our friends over at Freaky Fandoms. What else? Is that it? That's all the advertising.
That's the advertising for now.
Okay.
Please join our Patreon so we can hit the Rabbit Plush goal.
You survived the advertising. Oh, wait, one more thing I forgot I wanted to mention. So a lot of people were asking about this whole Patreon thing because we have said that if you want to acquire the Rabbit Plush collector set, you have to set your amount that you pay for that month at $45. Don't do that until we've hit the goal, but we'll probably hit the goal this month. And then when that happens, go to your settings and set this number to be $45. The tier you could set to anything. Anything that will qualify in the $45. But anyway, all that's over on Patreon. It's not difficult. You just go to your settings and put your amount you're paying for that month at $45 and leave your tier at whatever it was. At $45 or more, by the way.
I would like to ask a question.
Yes.
If you're at the $35 tier or below, what do you write in the choose what you pay?
You put $45.
Right.
And then you leave your tier as the $35 tier.
And then it will automatically just do another 10.
Yeah, you'll pay that for that month.
Right.
$45. You'll pay what you wrote into this field.
The top number is the overriding number.
Yeah, of course. Right. Yes.
Gotcha.
Exactly. Because it says here, like, here's the minimum price for that tier, the Admiral tier on this person's Patreon. Mm-hmm. But for instance, if you selected the $35 tier on ours, and then you can go up here and put $45 in there, you're still in the $35 tier. Let's not make this more complicated than it needs to be.
Okay.
And just go over there and do the thing. Put in $1 and then wait, and then things will happen.
Wait. Because we had this with the Chaos coin. People didn't wait. They went for the big money straight away before we'd hit the goal.
Yeah, don't do that. We're not quite there yet. We still have...
The instructions are very clear.
Here, Martin, do some math. What's the number we have remaining? 3222 minus that.
Oh, I don't know.
That would be 400 and...
Oh, yeah. 390-ish.
Something. I don't math. I don't math at all. Okay.
More super chats.
One more super chat from 13 Fiorini.
Congrats on the marriage. Hope your special day goes well. Buy a drink on me.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
There you go.
Last day as a not married man. I'm going to buy a lot of drinks on you. All right. We do have a bit of art from Joey. This is actually a revision of the dress that Omri previously did. I think this was called the Death Dress. Do you recall? The name of this dress?
Guilt, isn't it?
This is not Guilt, is it? I thought this was Death.
That's what we called the poster.
Oh. Well, maybe it is the Guilt dress. Anyway, Joey, I think, decided to take it upon herself to fix up the back of the dress because in the version that Omri turned in, she was showing a lot of skin. And I think Joey's concern was that it was over-sexualizing the young Alice.
But it was in the shape of a coffin.
It was, and I think that was pretty cool. So I think we're going to... this is, again, just to stress, everything we're looking at here right now is work in progress. Until it ends up in the game and gets shipped, it's not final. And I think that as far as these dresses go, a lot of them, we've achieved a state where we're kind of like, okay, we stick a pin in that and we're happy with it. But it doesn't mean that it's final. There will be a point where we do another revision and a cleanup and a kind of final rendering of these dresses before they're sent off to be turned into 3D models. And even then... once they're in the game, we will have the opportunity to go and edit and make sure that they conform to all of our requirements about how we want to represent the character and how these things move around and behave in the game. So yeah, I think maybe not necessary that Joey goes and does this kind of edit, but I get her point, that she wants to make sure we don't overemphasize sort of sexual isness of these characters. I know one of the other things she did was amp up you can see here, like you can actually see through Alice and you can see the bones in her arms.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Joey really liked that idea, so she wanted to kind of bring that out quite a bit.
I liked it.
I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. I wonder, she might want to go see a doctor though, because it seems like she's got some sort of like burning eye infection.
She's got conjunctivitis
It
or
looks
something.
like magical conjunctivitis. It's not healthy. She's probably been messing around with some sort of like colored contact lenses too much. Anyway, here we go.
Sean Carey is back. Once you guys get the license and the game goes into development, what are some of the high tier rewards you'll be offering? Maybe a chance to get our name in the credits.
That's already
That's
done.
already a tier on Patreon.
Yeah, it's already a tier on Patreon.
Go and read the tier descriptions.
Now, I have a question for us. If someone was a patron at that level at some point in history, and then the game gets shipped, say, a year later, and their name is not in the credits at the point where we pull the list, are their names still in the credit?
I believe that the answer is yes.
Okay.
If they were at that tier in the past,
At any point, and they paid for 1 month at that tier,
and if they left us, I'm
still
sure
get
we can extract everyone from
Right.
the info. I hope.
so that tier, Sean, already exists. I don't even think it's that high of it. I think it's like $15 a month.
15.
If you just pay that for 1 month, then you automatically qualify for having your name in the credits. That is going to be a massive list.
It's going to be a massive list.
It's okay.
But some credits on games these days, they go on for hours.
Yeah, well, how many pages at the end of the Out of the Woods book are taken up by...
Just two, but it's quite a small font.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the back of this this book, this is the credits for Out of the Woods, and we put everybody's name in there in print. So we'll do the same thing with your name as it relates to Alice Asylum. Your name will be in the credits. So now, if you want to be in some sort of special section of the credits, we might come up with some sort of option for that.
Maybe.
Speaking of, once we get the license and the game goes into development, I did communicate to Martin this morning. There has been movement.
Frustratingly, it's movements that cannot be talked about.
Well, it's funny because I have signed. Now I'm pretty sure I can mention this. So when you're doing negotiations or conversations with a big corporate entity around things that are sensitive, they ask that you sign an NDA. That's a non-disclosure agreement. Now I've previously signed NDAs multiple times over years and years with EA, as we've talked about various projects and whatnot. And in relation to the conversation we're having now about a new Alice game, I have signed NDAs with them. I was made to sign.
Shh, shush, shush.
I just think it's funny. Like they made me sign yet another one. It's like, how many of these? But the best part was that in the email in which they said you need to sign this NDA, they said specifically, they called me out. They're like, we really don't want you talking about what's in this to your fans.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, no. So anyway, I will just try to make it clear that it is an indication of movement. It is an indication of positive movement. There are things going on behind the scenes I wish I could say more about, but I now have signed not just one, but 2 NDAs as it relates to this conversation. So
Do they add up? Is that like a super NDA now?
I don't know, but it's a bit nuts. It's like NDA-ception, you know. I don't really get that, but I do just want to communicate that that was signed, and then further kind of news stuff came out, and all that stuff is good, and that's about all I can say about it. So
Pretty much.
we are slowly inching our way forward.
Just imagine one day we'll be able to say stuff.
It'll be crazy.
And we'll get loads of views on that video.
Yeah, it'll be really crazy. So yeah, that's going on. Dresses from Joey. Joey also sent along some bits of design concept. This is related to the music box idea. And this was that if we don't mess around with Alice in game for 2 or 3 minutes, she will start to have idle animations. Now, I think 2 or 3 minutes might be a bit much.
Yeah, it should probably be in the realm of 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, something like that. But the idea was that she's got some fun little idle animations.
I do like idle animations.
I do too. Now, I actually think that when we've talked about this concept in the past, it was that we might hear her humming a melody and trying to calm herself down at all times where she could be nervous or concerned about what's going on in the environment around her. I was hoping that we would see her and hear her expressing emotion through this type of humming or whistling more frequently in the game, because again, she is this frightened little 13-year-old girl who's being confronted with some really awful, truly horrible things. So we ought to see her being a bit nervous.
I think so. When I first saw this image just now, I was thinking, all of these asterisks and exclamation marks and stuff in the speech bubble over on the right, that's usually what we put in for cursing in the West, is it not?
A little bit. I think this splat bang exclamation mark, this looks like she's cursing.
So just reminded me of saying, "Get bent, governor."
Right.
I think we should have that in the game somehow. I don't know how.
We could do that. We could definitely do that.
IP Freely is back with a vengeance. As a British person, what does Martin think of the new Mary Poppins film? Surely he must have an opinion. Is it out? I've seen the trailer. Trailer looks magical. No, trailer looks okay. I think trailers are meant to make things look okay. So, I mean, you can be cautiously optimistic about it. It looks fine.
There you go.
Probably watch it.
Well, thank you, IP Freely, for getting an opinion out of Martin. It hasn't been easy, but you finally unlocked that achievement. There you go.
Be a musical again, won't it? I assume.
Don't know. I don't know. Now, I don't know if we actually looked at these music boxes in a previous.
We did.
Okay. No, this is partly related to the previous image. So I know we didn't share this previously, but the idea would be that she's learned some of these songs that she's humming from these music boxes. And so I think we'll come up with some sort of a design connection between the acquisition of a music box and then perhaps the unlocking of maybe the humming is a kind of form of powering up.
Right.
If you let her hum out an entire tune, then she gets some sort of a buff or some sort of a health or otherwise something increase, right? Yeah.
Okay.
I like that this, this is like that bass on the wall,
Billy
the Billy Bass. Yeah, I think that's all good. And these tentacles are gonna dance. Is he saying Heil? Has she gone Hitler with this?
It kind of does look like that from the corner of your eye, but it's obviously not.
Saying
It's
hey,
like,
hey.
hey, 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 hey. Is it a
This
creepy
hey,
laugh?
It's hey, hey. Okay. He's looking around and saying Heil, Heil. Okay. Thanks, Joey. Now we're going to be called Nazis, just like PewDiePie. Because we had a baby head that says Heil, Heil. Thanks for that. Great.
Sean Carey. Moving on. Sean Carey. Any TED Talks American can throw our way?
Not sure what that means. If you're looking
have you seen a good TED Talk recently?
I watch TED Talks all the time, but I mean, is it that I'm going to give a recommendation for a TED Talk, or is
that's
it
what they're asking?
Oh, I don't know. I don't keep track of them all. Sorry.
I don't see many.
I'm subscribed to the channel and I watch them all the time. I think that the one that was most controversial that I watched recently was this guy Bjorn. What was his last name? Anyway, he's talking about more examining the potential economic impacts of climate change as opposed to the scary doomsday ill effects of weather and things that we're having a really difficult time predicting. He's suggesting that we might try to look at the bright side of what's going on and take a more scientific view of the potential outcomes. And so I know that TED Talk, there's just some channels on YouTube I was watching that they were talking about that talk, and then I went and watched the talk, and it was quite interesting. So there you go.
I don't see many, but one that sticks out in my head is the one where they had some sort of crazy ass slow-mo camera, and they actually photographed a photon of light bouncing off something.
Wow.
That was kind of bonkers to imagine that they'd actually captured that on film. So,
speaking of crazy slow-mo, you know that Jennifer's working on Jibs.
I do know
and
that.
she captured a frame of slow-mo jib action here. This poor man has been shot through with a jib's gun.
He deserves it, white guy.
Exactly. He's a white man, so he definitely deserves to be shot and jibbed. And he clearly he shaves, so that means he's a Gillette
His
product.
head as well.
Yes, he's shaving his head as well. It's the whole thing. He's just you can tell he's just a really bad guy. So anyway, he's been shot. But yeah, Jennifer is working on Jib's art. This was the combo of Jennifer's cute Jib's character in Omri's hellish lava underworld landscape. I really like this. I think this works for me in terms of like what the game might ultimately look like. I know that Jennifer's actually working on a much cuter representation of the world, a much cleaner, more colorful representation of the world. But yeah, this is
an actual bag of jibs.
That was a bag o' jibs. It was indeed. Ray Rutherford asks Martin with a $5 super chat, what is your favorite tea?
Brand? I don't know. We don't really have favorite brands. Maybe like Tetley or Yorkshire tea, Typhoo, any of those really. But if you're asking for like Earl Grey or something, I don't really know. Anything I can put one sugar and some milk in and then dunk a custard cream. That'll do me.
Jennifer mentions the TED Talk called How to Stop Screwing Yourself Over. I liked that one. I do agree with that.
Sounds
Jennifer,
good.
that is a good one. And yeah. So, Siri, she or he, I don't know why I feel like that's a she, but Siri sends Canadian $5 and says, on the thought of buffs, perhaps include a panic meter, which would increase when stressed, and that her humming would lower. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I mean, you can imagine.
Talked about various meters that build up.
And so sneaking around and bearing witness to like all this horrible horror would increase her stress meter, and stopping and having a break where she can hum it all out would lower it back down. So that may be something that we could do as a function of the sneak dynamic, right?
Yep.
It could be quite interesting. So thank you, Siri, for the design suggestion and also for the $5 Canadian. We will buy some maple syrup with that. Alicia Crow sends 10 euros.
Euros, but no message.
Alicia is the reincarnate of the actual Alice Liddell. I don't know if you know that.
I've heard that rumor.
I've heard that rumor as well. It's clear that maybe she's got 10 euros, but she doesn't know exactly how to attach a message to it. So
well, it's that time.
It is that time.
Could we'll answer Magus's super chat and keep an eye out for Alicia Crow's whilst we're asking people to spam, I guess.
Well, let's just ask Magus. Thank you for the $13. That's my lucky number. He probably knows that. He says, for your upcoming marriage, the tarot card I pulled for you was the 9 of Cups. So, Magus, what does that mean, the 9 of Cups, in terms of what you pulled for me? Does that mean I will have 9 cups?
9 girls, 1 cup?
That would be terrible.
I don't know.
It's scary. Yeah, so, okay. I think...
There's Alicia.
She just says, you see, I know how to use Super Chat and love this game, and she's supporting it. Well, thank you for the support.
Thank you very much.
Spiritual descendant of the actual Alice Liddell. Yeah, Magus, let us know what the 9 of Cups mean, and then in the meantime, the spam is already starting to flow in, so we'll probably never see the answer. Now, what we are giving away this time...
This is the big one.
It is the big prize. It is the little fluffy White Rabbit himself, plus the bag in which he comes, plus the... I don't know. We're not doing the Lulu patch for this one, are we? Because that's only if you do the Patreon thingy. But anyway,
yes.
And a button. So there you go.
The flooding in. Let's let it build up a bit more. Yeah,
what are the names on the left side of the screen for? Those are our patrons. Those are people who are on Patreon. And so they get to have their name on screen because that's one of the perks of being a patron.
Yeah, maybe next week it will look better because Magus is helping out by having it as an actual video rather than text files, which OBS has a size limit on, which is why it looks so shonky.
Is he Magus or Magus? Like GIF or GIF? May-GIF or May-GIF?
Magus. It's when you ask the question, I'm suddenly uncertain.
There you go. So there's a lot of spam going on here. People really want that bunny.
They do.
Yep. So we are waiting until we hit 100 eligible users.
99.
Just need one more.
Come on, Nightbot.
Spam the comments if you want to win the bunny.
Maybe we don't have enough people watching.
Oh, for sure we do. Just give it a second. We need one more person who's listening. But there we go. Okay, Here we go. Mr. Curios.
Mr. Curios.
You have won the White Bunny. The White Bunny Plush. I don't know why I'm calling him white. He's actually kind of brown. Anyway, you have won the Bunny Plush, and that does bring us to the end of our prize giving today. You will need to email to mysterious@americanmcgee.com. Be sure to include your mailing address, your phone number, your actual name, and mention the fact that you've won a bunny. And we will have a bunny sent to you
ASAP.
It'll hop its way from China to your arms. Magic bunny. All right. I think we've pretty much covered everything. I will ask that you do the thing.
Please do the things.
The things are really helpful. You go over to AmericanMcGee.com and you subscribe to the mailing list. We've got like 40,000 people signed up on the mailing list right now, but we can always use more. You can follow me on social media. You can even go to Instagram and shame me for asking innocent questions about people who say they don't have any money. Because I always like that. I like when people assume the worst about me and do those things on social media platforms, because that's what social media is for. You can support us over on Patreon. We will unlock... Hey, this is wrong. I thought I fixed this. Anyway, we're working towards unlocking the next patron goal, which is not these patches. It is, in fact, the Rabbit Collectable set. So go over there and sign up to be a patron. You can also get art and all kinds of other goodies from that. And you could go to Mysterious and you could get t-shirts and wallets and I don't know.
Stuff.
Those are the things. Go do the things.
Please.
Links in the description below. Smash like.
Super chats came in. Rusty Cork.
We're not saying that anymore today, Rusty.
Oh.
It's funny. I know. Every time we say that, he's over there giggling.
What do you think of the fact that I put milk in my tea?
I think that's fine.
It's fine.
I don't have a problem with that.
It's normal.
You know, I've lived out in the world long enough now, and amongst the people of the other strange and faraway lands. The other realms that pretty much nothing food or drink wise bothers me anymore. So yeah, not a problem. Chaussette, hello Chaussette. Welcome back. We missed you, but here you are. And you've sent us 10 Canadian dollars and said,
good morning. Hope you guys had good holidays.
Thank you very much.
It was all right.
I had a fantastic holiday.
Back in Fontland.
Yes.
With the fam.
This is Magus saying that the Nine of Cups means enjoying the simple pleasures, being well off, and being happy and relaxed.
Oh.
Well, that would be great.
The well off bit would be ace.
That would be awesome. We are trying to work our way towards that. It's a difficult goal, I think, for everybody. Okay. We then have a comment, a super chat from... Where's it gone? Gamaleth.
You said you need $15 for game credits, but on Patreon says it you need to do 10.
Yeah, but you go and do 10, and you've just given us 5 here, so that's 15. Ha, gotcha!
Also, we didn't specifically say that. We were kind of umming and ahhing. Was it 15? Was it 10?
Yes.
So stop it.
Stop. Don't tear Nazi us.
Yeah, don't put tears in our mouth.
Anyway, so yeah, if you go over to Patreon, you can read all about that kind of stuff.
You can.
There you go. I think that does bring us to the end of...
Are we done? What we did... Out of the Woods, we talked about that. We did Pirate Jam. We talked about the rabbit dress and DLC quite a lot. We did some prizes.
That's it.
That's it.
We will upload the design session to YouTube hopefully soon. I think that Estriel Vision is going to help us with that. He's in the chats right now. So you will be able to watch that. And then, of course, we will send out a reminder for next week's crowd design session, and also for next week's live stream. And you can join us again at that time.
Please do.
Please do. Please smash like. Are you going to say it?
Jib it up.
Jib it up. Wubba dubba. Lub lub. All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.